From Corolla One Studios in Glendale, California, this is the Adam Carolla Show. Adam's guest today, comedian Michael Lenoci, plus Joe Mantegna and Brigham Avery. And now, the only time he's had classified documents is when he put classified as his dad's occupation on his high school emergency card. Adam Carolla.
Yeah, get it on. Got to get it on. The choice, but they're going to mandate get it on. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for spreading the good word. You know, I talked to a lot of you people in Dallas during the meet and greet, and you're like, I turned my kids onto it, and I turned my neighbor onto the show. So thank you. That's the way it works. Michael Lenoci is here, stand-up comedian. He's got a stand-up special out on YouTube as we speak called In the Moment. You can watch the full special on YouTube, and I'll give you some dates coming up as well. But you can go to michaellenoci.com for all the dates. Good to see you, Michael.
Good to see you. Thanks for having me.
And Max Pata.
Hey, guys.
All right, so we've found some candidates for the Ranchera playoff song, which I'll explain to Michael, and also have some thoughts about gay flags. And first, a thought for the room, just a basic thought. It's all over the news that Tom Brady is retiring. And they say Tom Brady has got an announcement. Now Tom Brady's retiring. It's on all the entertainment shows, on the sports shows.
He did it with a selfie video.
It's ubiquitous.
Yeah.
But I'm not interested in whether he's retiring or not retiring, or what his status with Giselle is, or what she's doing with the jiu-jitsu instructor in Rio. I don't care. But I am interested in the fact that Tom Brady is a very common American name, and there's nobody else famous named Tom Brady.
Well, because he controls that narrative.
But there's no General Tom Brady from World War II that fought in the island campaigns. There was no senator. Now, look, you guys are going to be able to do a deep dive and find some senator from Wisconsin from 1877 named Tom Brady. I'm not saying that.
Okay.
I mean householdy name.
Right.
Like Michael J. Fox is Michael J. Fox because there's another guy named Mike Fox who was in SAG-AFTRA before he signed up. You got to put the J in there because Michael Fox is too common a name.
Michael B. Jordan. That's
and Michael
exactly why.
B. Jordan.
Yeah, you have to.
Right. So, Tom, very ubiquitous. It's an old
classic name.
Classic, old and new. It didn't go out like Gertrude or even, Hezekiah or something like that. Tom Brady, very ubiquitous. What is it about Tom Brady where he's the only, if you say Tom Brady, no one says which Tom Brady. It's just Tom Brady.
He is the Tom Brady. He probably got tombrady@gmail.com.
There's nobody else in the league named Tom Brady. There should be a actor. There should be a senator.
They're both such classic names.
The fact that he came around 2001 too. So yes, that is true. It's like later on in life. But there's now, obviously going forward, nobody's going to go with Tom Brady. They're going to do Thomas Brady or...
Who's the famous Thomas Brady?
There's got... I mean,
No. That's my whole point. Look, but you can't say there's got to be something.
Is there a famous...
because we don't know.
What about the famous Brady? Who has the last name Brady?
Well, there have been a couple of Bradys.
There's a whole bunch of them
in the league. There's a bunch.
In the 70s,
They call themselves the Brady Bunch.
But even since Tom's been around, then there's that.
It took you too long to catch on when Chris said there's a bunch of them.
But you're right. And if my last name was Brady and I had a kid, I wouldn't name him Tom anymore. Like it's over.
I don't even think there's another Brady in the NFL though.
There've been a couple of Bradys. I don't know. Currently, you could find a couple of Bradys in the NFL.
I just don't think it's an athletic name. So it would have to be an actor.
But again, this is why I said senator, general, actor,
Congressman Brady.
There might even musician, know all the presidents.
But it's not even like, the lead singer from the Plain White T's or Rage Against the Machine. That guy's name is Tom Brady, or Insane Clown Posse or something. There is no other Tom Bradys. It's the most ubiquitous name
the singer from the Plain White T's name is actually Tom.
What's the most?
Yeah, it's actually
so gay that you knew that.
I love that.
Hold on, what does that say?
I like the Plain White T's too.
Yeah.
I mean, there you go.
His name is Tom?
Yeah, his name's Tom.
But not Brady.
I know. Well, he couldn't do it.
There's a guy from the House of Representatives that, magically disappeared 2011.
Right.
Ah.
But we don't know him.
No. Why would anyone know that? I mean, you got to be really.
My argument
wins.
is not that there isn't another Tom Brady in the United States. There has to be hundreds of Tom Bradys. I'm just saying not one we've heard of.
No.
Okay.
There's.
I don't think there's a conspiracy theory. I just think it's statistically an anomaly. That's all I'm saying.
I think it's just such a basic name that it's just not a talented name. You're not going to be talented.
Your synopsis
if
is
you're
it's
naming
not
someone
so
Tom Brady,
ubiquitous.
yes.
So you're saying
you're giving up already at birth.
you are.
Yep.
You're not from the arts.
Yep.
Your parents didn't. My mom taught interpretive dance, and my dad was a drama coach.
There's no way
You would name your kid Tom Brady.
They were accountants. You know what I mean? They're just like
truck drivers.
Normal. Yeah. There's no skill. No.
And you were not introduced into the arts.
Nothing.
Oh, but what about the military? There's got to be a general that we know of.
He would have died before he got high ranking. You know what I mean? He would have been
off.
He would have been picked off too. It's just like there's
As a private.
That's why this is so crazy that when Tom Brady made it, he went to the greatest of all time. So it's just like for all the other Toms, I guess.
He's doing it for all the Tom Bradys.
Yeah. There's actually Thomas J. Brady.
There's Thomas J. Brady who did what?
Threw a bunch
he was a Civil
passes.
War officer, but he had to add the J because there was an old Irish general named Thomas Brady. So,
all right,
are you excited for a
ubiquitous name? Can't think. Now look, there's only one Yoko Ono. Thank Christ, but that's a crazy name,
right?
And
yes.
There's only one Jerry Seinfeld, and that's a pretty unique name too. I'm just saying there.
But there's a lot of
At some point,
Seinfelds.
someone should say Tom Brady, and another American could go, which one are we talking about? We talking about the senator? We talking about the bass player for Slipknot? Or are we talking about the football
What can
player?
we do that? Who can we do that with? There's got to be another basic. Like, is there another one where what's an example where we are like, which one?
Well, I'm just excited that there's going to be a Yoko J. Ono in like 20 years, right?
Yes. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, you're right with the Michael B. Jordan is the
Well, that's going to be because he was
example.
such an influence on just American culture. So I bet you there are a lot of Michael Jordans.
Yes.
I mean, if my
but
last
there
name's-
should be a lot of Tom Brady's coming up.
Yeah, I mean, I've never actually even. I'm trying to think. I've never met a Brady, like a last name, Mr. Brady. How are you? Like I've never even.
It's.
I've met more Jordans.
It's a common enough name that you made a sitcom series in it that was about nothing and sort of middle of the road, and you named the family Brady. So
That
there was
is
nothing. It was ubiquitous
it comes
enough.
from British. It's a British name, right?
I don't know. Everything
know.
started
Yeah.
somewhere.
Yeah.
All right. Apropos of nothing.
I'm
Yes.
with you, man. And there's like a whole. Remember, there's like a commercial about a guy named Michael Jordan. It was like an ESPN commercial,
Yes.
and he would make reservations at a restaurant.
Yes,
Wherever he'd
that
go,
was a
they'd just
fun
be
joke.
bummed whenever they saw him.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Any other Lenocis around?
There is. There's that name's around. I mean, it comes from Italy, but like I've seen there's like somewhere in Jersey or something. Like, but I'm on the winning side of it. Like they probably get annoyed. They're probably like, this guy's got all the handles right away.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think I'm like the older one. But
You're the Tom Brady of Michael.
I'm the
Lenocis.
Tom Brady of Michael, which I'm sure you're the Adam Carolla, like of Adams.
I am the goat of Adam Carollas. There are no
I mean, you
other
have a whole
popular
car
Adam
named
Carollas.
after you.
Ironically spelled C-O-R.
Well, I
where
wouldn't.
my name is C-A-R, which does spell car. They should have. They should have pulled it.
Toyota spelled it wrong.
I'm not good at spelling, so I wouldn't.
Now there's a lot of people like the world whenever Adam goes on any show.
Everyone misspells it. I don't care and rarely notice it. Although I do.
I mean, but dude, if you're on a show, you should do the research.
I
Mess that up.
I've lost my faith in humanity. Everyone's a fuck up now. I do like it when it's spelled both ways in the same article. That's the one where I go,
oh, wow.
Somebody should have figured that out. It's spelled two different ways in the same paragraph.
Well,
yeah.
fired.
Now they're sending a message.
We have. So your story is as you start off, you're a college student and you're thinking about psychology.
American dream, baby.
Yeah. I always felt like
That's what they told you to do.
psychology and comedy were kind of connected.
That wasn't the plan. I'll tell you. Listen, psychology. That happened. Part of the minor in psychology was because I dated a bunch of women that were majoring in psychology. So they would go to class for me, sign me in, and then it was easier to cheat. So, which is a thing you learn in psychology. Like, I was able to figure out a way to pass college. So, but that's how. So I ended up having the minor, and I was like, oh, I have to only take like 3 more classes, and then that's my minor. Sociology, it's typically where all the athletes. Not that I was an athlete in college. There's no Michael J. Lenoci, but I was in sociology just because I was kind of like not passing some classes and having to drop stuff, and eventually it's a very easy major. Like if somebody comes into an interview and they're like, yeah, my major's sociology, you're like, okay.
That just means
not
a good student, not motivated.
You're a C student.
Is that the communications major?
I even think communications would be a little bit harder. I mean, all you did was write papers, and it was just like, why do people, say this or say that, or like, why do people get angry in these moments? It's just like observations of society.
I'm told here the name Brady has skyrocketed in the New England area, but not so much Tom. So they're going Brady.
My nephew is Brady.
Well, there you go.
No relation to Tom Brady, but it was just like Brady is a popular boy name these days.
Yeah.
It's the Michael of this generation.
There are some. So we're talking about the ranchera music, and I figured out that the tinkling on the pianos or the soft elevator music doesn't get people off stage.
The swelling of the orchestra.
When they're giving their speeches.
Oh, at the award shows. Yeah.
And they want to get them to leave. That the piano almost feels thematic. It's almost like they scored their inspirational speech.
It's enhancing.
Yeah, that's funny. That's actually funny.
If it was a movie where the lead character was giving that speech in front of a classroom,
they would be playing that music.
That music would be scored
if anything,
under it.
They get more passionate when that comes on.
Yes.
They get into it. They're like, here we go. And then, because they're actors. But no.
Yeah, we can find
the Brendan Fraser one.
Was that the big one?
That was the one where I was watching it and they tried to play him off. And it just looked like his speech was scored. And it was,
well, now they're also like, dude, F off. Like I've waited years for this. Like you're not going to play me off with some stupid music when you guys didn't give me any credit for 30 years. To be honest, like if I was out there, I'd be like, dude, go fuck. Yeah. Can you swear on here?
Yeah.
I'd be like, go fuck yourself. Are you kidding me? You're going to play me off because you're timing shit? How about my time? I waited 30 years to have this moment. I'm not going to be played off by some violin. You want to play me off? Put Metallica on or have some like security guard. That's funny. Have a security guard be like, yo, if you don't go now, we're taking you off the stage. Like that would
get the guy from.
But they're not going to do that
Apollo.
because then that's too aggressive. But still.
Well, do we have Brendan then? Because maybe that one.
Yeah, it's like the critics' choice award.
Listen, are you listening to that music if you're up there giving a speech?
Well, it's a cue to leave, but it's not really getting people to leave. It's sort of, we got a riot in the streets of Minneapolis, and there's a cop with a bullhorn going, everybody exit peacefully, and people are bashing each other over the head with chairs. Like, it's not going to work. You got to get out the pepper spray and the tear gas. Like, that's what will get people to disperse. And I think we used to have a sort of cultural code, which is, when you hear the music, it's time to wrap it up and leave. Now we've entered some sort of narcissistic new world order where they hear the music and they go, fuck that. I'm not going anywhere. And
it's funny to them.
Now we need to ramp up the music is what I'm saying.
Yeah, they're fighting back now. Like Michelle Yeoh's like, shut up. I can beat you up. Come on. This is my moment.
Right. Maybe we'll hear... see if we find Brian.
It's all just so cheesy.
Here it is. But
obesity, or
you can go back to before they started.
Right before the music.
5 seconds. Need a little head.
That was
in general.
Showed me where to go to get to where I needed to be. If you, like a guy like Charlie, who I played in this movie, in any way, struggle with
Hold on.
obesity,
Ben, just do What?
You just feel like you're in a dark
Oh, that
sea.
wasn't a part of it.
No, all right. We'll try it again. You
just
got to
wanted
do
to
the
hear-
Brendan Fraser speech. That's all right.
Wait, the
And
trumpet
you
wasn't a
gotta
part of it.
start it before the music comes in. That's a rule. And then we'll figure it. We'll do the ranchero later.
Yeah, we just want
Nice.
we'll establish this.
Yes. All right. Or not. All right. Anyway.
But you kind of heard where I was going, right?
Yeah,
Like you just like
yeah,
a
yeah.
little twinkling of music swelling.
No, it was
in.
actually perfect because he pauses and then it comes on and then he starts
That's right.
again. That's
Yeah.
what
It was like
It's
it was
the
meant to be.
timing.
Like I remember I saw this video on Twitter and I thought, did somebody add this in post?
Right.
Yes.
All right. We'll try to.
It's the
try
timing
it
thing,
again.
and
There
also
we go.
he's just so emotional.
Yeah, it's so fitting.
Mm-hmm.
This speech should win an award.
Showed me where to go to get to where I needed to be.
Very emotional. Big deal.
If you, like a guy like Charlie, who I played in this movie, in any way struggle with obesity, or you just feel like you're in a dark sea, I want you to know that if you too can have the strength to just get to your feet and go to the light, good things will happen.
All right. All right. The purpose of the music. Let me tell you something about like the way things work. The Roach Motel baits roaches in and then kills them.
Yeah.
It doesn't bait them in, reward them, give them a doggy bag,
job,
and
buddy.
send them on their way. This is not accomplishing what it was there to
Yes.
accomplish, is what I'm saying.
He definitely got more emotional with it. Like
Yes.
maybe he thought this was a production for him.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. Like he may have been done,
What-
and then the music came in.
What's his story again? So he did the.
Oh,
He was molested at the Golden Globes luncheon.
yeah,
or
the
something.
Hollywood Foreign Press Association.
When he was like a kid?
no,
No, he was
This is like
35.
2003.
Come on.
So
Somebody dropped a digit on him. I don't know what the argument is.
well,
I-
okay, so it's a guy named Philip Burke, right?
Right.
He's no longer part of the HFPA, but he allegedly, dropped a digit, maybe did a little wiggle, and it irked Brendan. And Philip's like, look,
Brendan's in his 30s.
I was just joking around. I was just, whatever. But Brendan's like,
But it's
it
not
traumatized me.
And
all right.
this is what this is about?
Well, that's why he hasn't.
This is why
he
he's a
hasn't-
mess.
He hasn't gone to the Golden Globes and he refuses. But this is a different award. But this is like, so he disappeared from
He
Hollywood.
was like an alpha male.
Look, first things first, let's talk attire. You're not wearing dolphin shorts and no underpants and a crop top at the luncheon. You're wearing a suit, right?
Yeah.
Presumably slacks and underwear.
Yeah.
And possibly the tail, the back of the suit hanging down below ass cheek line oftentimes.
Forget about the tail.
Oh, if you have the tail, yes.
And this guy, I'm not talking about tails, but I'm just talking about a suit.
No,
You're
no,
not
yeah,
wearing
hanging
a,
over.
Titanic.
You're not
it's
wearing a
not
Nehru
style.
jacket. Yeah. So this guy comes up in front of him. This guy at the time is 70 or 69, like a semi-elderly guy.
Yeah.
Comes up to a spry, fit 35-year-old, presumably probably had a few cocktails,
Yeah.
and greets him face to face by reaching around and grabbing his ass.
Compliment.
Which compliment seems like a joke to me. Oh God, I've had that done to me a million
Yeah,
times.
yeah.
I had the ball sack tap and the cock tap, the backhand tap,
Add Brendan's quote if you want it.
over and over again. He says the guy reached around and went for his taint,
That's right.
which I would say to, wouldn't that get you a big push in the face of the elderly guy if you're trying to?
100%.
That's a reflex.
And then you're in a crowded luncheon. Like, what is it? Look, I'm with you on Harvey Weinstein all day. Like, he answered the door of the Biltmore Hotel in a bathrobe and then asked me to sit on the foot of the bed while we read the script. Oh, I get that one. This is hard. This is hard to do in a crowded room.
Yeah, I'm even making a joke if that happens to me. I'm like, hey, and later, man, not right now, not in
Right.
front. Too many people
Yeah, let me
around.
get another
you know
drink.
what I mean? Like, yeah, like listen, I've had way worse things happen to me just last
Today.
week. You know what I
That
mean?
was-
Like,
in my high school, that was called Tuesday.
yeah. What do you mean we did that as like guys in the like that was funny in college and
Yes.
like come here. You're like, oh, what are you homophobic?
right.
Credit card.
Not even sure how the go for the taint works through a suit
If you get that, that's
in a crowded room.
That's a win. He deserves to be with him for that night if you can get a shot at the taint.
Yeah.
So this is at the Beverly Hills Hotel in 2003. Philip Burke and Brendan quote says his left hand reaches around, grabs my ass cheek, and one of the fingers touches me in the taint, and he starts moving it around.
Why are you just sitting there with it?
How long could this?
And
How
then
long
Burke,
could you do this?
Burke
Yeah.
wrote a memoir where he talked about this, and he said, "I pinched his ass as a joke."
Yes,
This
that's
is
the version.
I believe him.
Yes. I'm not saying a finger couldn't have gotten loose, but I'm saying he was just making a joke.
Sure. So
So Brendan is destroyed by this and needs a retreat from Hollywood. Now,
I mean, people have had way tougher lives.
well, look, here's my argument with all this stuff. It goes down as he was sexually assaulted. My argument is if you're going to call this sexually assaulted, then we do not know who was sexually assaulted. You're lumping in the chick who was running through Central Park and was dragged into the bushes and violently raped as also
You're right.
sexually assaulted.
Yeah.
So we cannot have the same paintbrush and brush every single episode the same. We need a different name.
100%.
Number one, all right. Number two, said this a million times. This is somewhere between a 0 burger and a 3 in terms of sexual assault.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
To me, to you, to everybody but Ben, who grew up worshiping at the altar of his Aquaman figurine set. Two straight guys, heterosexual, cisgen. This is just fucking Tuesday in high school with my buddies. Like, this is fuck around. But okay. All right. But this affected him greatly. But here's what I'm saying. If you're a person that has some sort of degenerative scoliosis, spine condition, and neck condition, and we're going along the 405 in traffic, and I tap you from behind in my car but leave no damage, but you then say you're paralyzed,
Yes.
why is that on me?
Yes.
There's something wrong with you,
Yes.
and this triggered that condition you have in your neck, but all I did was just bump you and drop an index finger on your exhaust pipe to keep the thing going.
That's a valid point.
I
because-
bumped you from behind at 2 miles an hour. You're damaged and need a chiropractor and surgery now, but that's not really on me.
Yeah, I wouldn't go as far as to saying that that's what's going on with Frazier, but like it makes it you like something else has to be there.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
this triggered and maybe there is psychological studies that show like people who've gone through sexual trauma at an early age, they black it out.
We should ask your
And
college friends.
and they
about
black
that,
it out, and maybe he doesn't, and they have to go through extensive therapy to pull it out, or ayahuasca. You've heard about that?
yeah. Oh,
And it
yeah.
brings up things that they all of a sudden go, "Oh my God, this happened. This is why I'm like this," and it's a relief for them to relive it and kind of deal with it. And maybe I'm not saying that's what happened, but maybe there is something from his trauma. He was a child, wasn't he? A childhood actor.
There is a lot of what you're saying.
Yes.
There's a lot of instances of that.
Yes.
And what I'm saying is Brendan should get some help.
Yeah, I mean, he looks a little.
This guy should probably not make a habit of grabbing guys' ass cheeks. I'm fine. I'll sign off with that. It's not them.
Yeah.
It's society. It's every fucking yenta in this society going, so you for sexual assault? So
No.
you think that's okay?
No.
So you think it's okay? And I'm like, you don't get it. It's a fucking
not.
joke. It's a nothing burger. Nothing happened at the time. It's a crowded room. I had a woman say to me, well, obviously the dude's gay. And I said, no, that's not gay. And she goes, why would she try to finger his taint? And I'm like, he's fucking around. And They say, dude,
Like
that's
it's
what
a way to like. He
dudes-
thought he was relating to a 35-year-old. Like that would be funny. Like if I saw one of my comedian buddies when I'm in my 50s and we were doing Comedy Central 20s and we were in one of these award shows, I would have no problem giving him a little tap on the helmet. You know what I mean? Like you're like, it's a joke, dude. We do that all the time. You've never had one of your boys flick your penis from the outside? You know what I mean?
Cousin Sal
You know what I mean?
pulled
From the
his
outside.
shorts down around his knees and jumped onto Mike August's face with
Yeah.
his bare ass.
Yeah.
And Mike didn't care.
What happened to that guy's life? Did they out him? Like he's
No, he later, this is the real comedy. He got shit canned because he said something against Black Lives Matter.
Oh.
The Brendan molestation digit dropping on the taint wasn't enough to get him
No.
thrown out, but you say something against Black Lives Matter, now you're banished.
Yeah. He was He was expelled.
All right. Well, in the Ranchera music department, circling all the way back, we don't need the Yokozuna. You'll just take my word for it. Pants dropped, bare ass, face.
Cousin Sal. He could say Mike August's nose touched his taint. I'm worried
I've
now.
been physically assaulted by my friends.
Yeah.
So many times.
And maybe that will trigger me one day. Someone will
God
come up
willing.
and pinch me, and I'll get triggered and be like, that ruined. I never did stand up for 20 years because somebody pinched my ass, but it's really because of my buddy when he slapped me in the face.
It's more the way society digests it rather than Brendan Fraser or the ass grabber. It's not really them.
Well,
it's
that's
all
not
of us
going
going, he's a victim, and what are you doing? Also, I realize talking to chicks, they never have any idea what you're talking about. Like I go, this is dudes, just fucking around. Why would you do that? I go, because it's funny. It's fucking funny.
I literally
they
do
go,
that in my stand-up.
you wouldn't do that to somebody? Why would you? In a public place? I go, you don't know how guys fucking roll, do you?
Like I've literally done that. I've been doing that on stage, and other people might be weirded out. But like if I'm dealing with a heckler or someone's annoying me, I'll be like, bro, stop! I'll suck your dick, bro. Stop! Like,
right?
Why
would you say that?
Yeah, like what do you mean? Like it's a joke. Like it's funny. Maybe to some people not, but like still, it's like I think it's fucking funny. Like it's a joke. Like
all right, we have AOC and Rashida Tlaib and
so today
Ilhan
this
Omar.
morning, Ilhan Omar was voted out against the Foreign Affairs Committee. So here's AOC.
They all spun out, and I thought maybe the Ranchera music would help in this situation.
Now, as a fellow New Yorker, I think one of the things that we should talk about here is also one of the disgusting legacies after 9/11 has been the targeting and racism against Muslim Americans throughout the United States of America. And this is an extension of that legacy. Consistency, there is nothing consistent with the continue to have, except for the racism and incitement of
still powering through.
color in this
All right. I think this would have an application in Congress, on award stages,
100%.
all over.
Congress is the worst kind because it's just somebody calmly going, "All right, your time's up. Your time is up."
Even in my own world, we talked about the app. If I ever hear the word again before someone says something, I would just crank it up. You've told me that moments ago. And then they'd go again. There's no place, and I just start having.
They definitely should have the playoff music for that.
Yeah, I think starting with again. No, you're basically saying no new information is about to exit my mouth.
Right.
And
everything with AOC racist. I guess it's all racism all the time. That's it. Okay. All right. We have Rashida Tlaib, I think.
Oh, this is very. Well, no, this one's
Ilhan Omar.
Yeah, this is Rashida. Here's Rashida Tlaib. Very emotional. She gets very emotional.
They're all very emotional.
They're very emotional.
I mean, this is the squad.
This is why we need
more
ladies.
Yeah. The gentlewoman's time has expired. Omar,
Wow.
the gentlewoman's time has expired.
That our country is failing you today.
It would work. Yelling the gentlewoman's time has expired is not getting it done. And playing the classical music in the background is not getting it done.
You're going to have to physically remove her at that point.
Yeah.
But she wasn't going to leave until she was done saying what she said.
Yeah, she's very animated.
Yeah.
Yeah. We need more estrogen in positions of power so we can have more thoughtful debates on regulations. And all right, now here's
the guy in the back.
Ilhan Omar. She's great.
And voice will not be diminished if I am not on this committee for one term. My voice will get louder and stronger, and my leadership will be celebrated around the world as it has been. So take your votes or not. I am here to stay, and I am here to be a voice.
All right.
At least she looks like she's having fun speaking. Like the girl behind her still upset about her speech.
Yeah, and she's only getting voted out, but she had a big old smile on her face.
AOC's pissed.
Like at least have fun doing what you're doing. Like that's your job. Have fun.
Most importantly, just have fun.
Why are you doing it? If you're not having fun, why are you in this industry?
Well, how could you have fun if you're the victim of systemic racism constantly, and there was environmental racism, and it was baked into all American culture? How is it that you could have fun in that society?
Hey, Jackie
I think
Robinson
that if you
had
find
fun.
a way, Jackie Robinson, if you find a way, then that's how you.
Yeah, but they didn't have
rise to
real
the cream of the
They
crop.
didn't have real racism back then. Not like it is
right,
now.
not like now.
true.
Now it's
Yeah.
systemic. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Back then it was sort of in pockets. You know what I mean?
You're right.
Now it's everywhere.
Now it's in our
Brain.
brains.
It's essentially racism was COVID still in Wuhan.
Yes.
Now it's global.
Yes.
You understand? And so Jackie Robinson had to put up with, some inconveniences, but he didn't have to put up the kind of racism that Ilhan Omar has to put up with on a daily basis. And I'll include Harriet Tubman and all the greats.
No, it was easier back then than it is today.
They had
There's
a
lot.
They had a dollop of racism
Well,
to
to-
contend with,
to
but it
be-
wasn't ubiquitous
to be-
like it is in 2023.
They didn't have to deal with comments on their social medias, so that's a
right.
little easier. You know?
They're going to keep fighting. That's the good news. Keep talking. But I'm serious. Let's get that mariachi music cranked up. All right, we're going to bring in Joe and Brigham. By the way, Joe Mantegna and Brigham Avery. We're taking a break here. Is that what we're doing? All right, take a quick break. We'll talk some baseball, talk some sports, talk some Hollywood right after this.
Yes.
Well, let me tell you about Good Ranchers. A lot of you have given up on your New Year's resolution, but here's one that you can easily tackle and do some serious good in your life. Change how you buy meat. Good Ranchers, 100% American meat company that delivers the best cuts of beef, chicken, and seafood right to your door, all sourced from local U.S. farms. And right now, get over 2 pounds of chicken free in every box for a year when you subscribe. So never worry about chicken again with Good Ranchers. That's a year's worth of America's best chicken free. $149 value when you subscribe at goodranchers.com. And it's going to get better because you can also get $20 off with my code ADAM at checkout. So get all the great protein that you need. Get the free chicken for a year and get another discount, 20% off when you use the code ADAM at checkout at goodranchers.com. Right, Dawson?
Start your year right. Change the way you buy meat by switching to Good Ranchers. Make sure to subscribe today and use code ADAM to claim your free chicken for a year and $20 off your first box. Good Ranchers, American meat delivered. In celebration of Jim Corolla's upcoming 92nd birthday, here's a list of 92 things Jim Corolla has never done. Number 15. Touched a motorcycle. Just one of 92 things Jim Corolla has never done. Let's get back to the Adam Carolla Show.
All right, Joe Mantegna is here. Brigham Avery is here. They got a podcast, Hollywood and Ivy. New episodes every month on Marquee Sports Network and YouTube. Good to see you guys.
Adam, great to be here. Thank you.
Joe, of course, we know from many, many popular movies, and then also voice on The Simpsons as well. Which
that's my longest running role. I've 32 years as Fat Tony.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Do you do a Fat Tony voice, or is it just kind of you?
you know who it is? It's my Uncle Willie. Because what happened is when I got the job, it was the third season of The Simpsons, and The Godfather 3 had just come out, and I play like the bad guy in that movie.
Mm-hmm.
So the movie was still running when they called and said, "Hey, we've got this character," and I didn't even know what the hell The Simpsons was at the time. So I had to look it up when they said, "You want you to maybe do this character?" So I checked it out and I thought, "Oh, this is cool. This is a smart cartoon." Blah, 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 blah. And I said, "Yeah, I'm glad to do it." But as I thought about it, knowing the character, I thought to myself, I can't be Joey Zaza, the same guy I was playing on Godfather 3. I didn't want to come in and sound like him.
The best of all the Godfathers, to be
Well,
honest.
right here, yeah. God bless you. God bless you for saying it. As far as I'm concerned, it is. But anyway.
Oh, yeah.
I think if you did a polling of most Americans.
Yes.
Polling. Well, what's ironic is you get them if they're under 30 years old. They'll go, "Oh yeah, man, that was my favorite because I remember the 70s." So they get that. But I went in. So when I got there and I realized and there's a script. I got to start. We're all sitting in a circle, And back then they shot or they recorded The Simpsons in the basement at Fox. They didn't have the all the stuff they have today, and it wasn't a big hit that it became. So we were like the poor. We're in the basement with a ping pong table at Fox, and that's where you did the show. And so we're all there, the whole cast, and I'm getting ready to do my first line, and I'm thinking, I don't want to. I hadn't thought about it, and then I realized I'm going to just sound like my Uncle Willie, because my Uncle Willie talked like this. He had throat cancer. He'd been smoking all his life, and this is the way he talked. So I thought to myself, I'll just do Uncle Willie, and unless they say stop, I'll just keep doing it. So I kept doing it. They didn't say stop. And I said, great. And I thought that was it. I walked out of the studio, said, well, great, thanks. I'm thinking, laughing to myself, oh, Willie will get a kick out of this. Then like 3 weeks later, they call me, hey, we'd like to bring that guy back. And needless to say, 32 years later, I'm still doing Uncle Willie on The Simpsons.
Any mob ties? The Corollas, South Philly. There's some stories about uncles needing to hide in basements for a couple of weeks just till things cool down.
I refuse to answer on the grounds that my I brought Willie actually to one of the recordings like 10 years into it. He was visiting me. He was like my running partner. I took him everywhere because I was 23 when my dad passed away. So my Uncle Willie was like the guy in my life for right up until just like I think about 5-6 years ago when he finally passed. And I remember I bring him in and I said, hey, I want you to meet my Uncle Willie. And he was like, hi, how are you? Hello, everybody. And they were like, oh my God, it's him. It's ground zero for Fat Tony.
And Brigham, sports background, Chicago.
I'm from Chicago, Adam, and obviously it's great to be here. And thank you so much for having myself here.
Sure.
In essence, I've
background. We really kind of just wanted Joe.
I know you did. I didn't want to say that, but since
you're the parsley that comes on the plate. We don't eat it, but it's there.
I just met this guy. I just found him in the alley outside.
I'm here to talk about Amway, Adam.
And that's his real voice.
Good God, yes, it is. Yeah. But I have a background in sportscasting, and Joe and I kind of put this together a few years ago. He had a place called Taste Chicago, and I had a podcast, and we came in, Adam, and we kind of had him come on as Fat Tony doing a proclamation before the Cubs in 2016 won the World Series. And as we take a lot of street cred. Adam, it's kind of like the first party in Old School that they have, and everybody just hangs out. Mitchapalooza. That was our kind of coming out for this, and I realized that could be a show. And so we're lucky enough to have Gary Sinise, Bob Odenkirk, Bonnie Hunt, and coming up, James Belushi's our next guest. So it's been great. And I got a Notre Dame show, too, on Nesson as well. So, that's
speaking
what I do.
Speaking of the Cubs, I don't know a lot about the Cubs. I threw out a first pitch several years ago, as I recall. Nice, beautiful, fun ballpark. Sammy Sosa. I'm thinking, and
diving right in.
Now, hold on.
Yes.
I'll try to be as respectful as I can. When I was looking at then Bruce Jenner in like 1999, and I would say to Dr. Drew, something's going on with that guy. And everyone's like, well, maybe he likes his eyebrows nicely plucked. And I'd go, that's just something. I got a little spidey sense. I don't know exactly what's going on, but something's going on. And every time I see a picture of Sammy Sosa, I'm like, what's going on with that guy? Is there something going on with him?
He's currently pink, yeah.
What is going on? He's looking like the guy sings Mambo No. 5. Now, is there some transition that's taking place? Again, is this a judgment-free zone here? I'm just going...
Lives in South Beach.
Yeah, like something is happening. What do we know?
I read, Adam, that he was taking these pills, like tanning pills, and I think also some kind of cosmetic enhancement, pinkish, and probably, for God's sakes, from all those steroid-using years. You know what I mean? I think it's coming back to haunt him, So, I heard there were pills.
Complex.
Heard there were pills.
I don't know.
Well, we all kind of screwed the pooch on Michael Jackson. We're like, he has that disease where he turns into white. Yeah, but why does his nose keep changing? That's part of the thing where he likes the kids. They sleep over. It's a good time. He's got a Ferris wheel in his backyard. He loves all the children. Like we all just, we completely whiffed. We whiffed on it. We whiffed on Caitlyn Jenner pretty much too.
It was interesting. I met Michael Jackson one time, and what it was is I was doing the movie Body of Evidence with Madonna. And we were shooting on a lot in Culver City, and Michael was doing a commercial at the time and I happen to know who the director was on the commercial. So Madonna comes up to me and to Willem Dafoe, who was also in the film. She says to the two of us, "Hey, Michael just called and asked me to come by and visit him on the set. You guys want to come?" And so, of course, Willem and I were like, "Yes, we'll come."
Right.
You know, because like I said, I wound up. This guy Joe Pitlick was the director of the commercial, so we went over there to meet him. And I gotta say, it was the most bizarre. One of the most bizarre aspects of it was when we walked into the soundstage, and it was this huge soundstage, and they had like sand dunes and animals and kids and stuff. I mean, it was like they were filming like the world. It was like, and then I see a figure walking out into the middle of the soundstage, and it was very identifiable. There was the hair and the body and the move and the clothes. And I says, "Oh," and I says to Joe, the director, I said, "Boy, it's really pretty obvious who that is." And he goes, "Oh, you think so?" And he yells to whoever the guy was. I said, "Come here, Jimmy," or whatever it was. This guy comes trotting over. And finally, when he gets within about 2 feet of me, I realize it's not Michael, but it's a guy that not only is dressed and is the same body shape, but had exactly the same surgery. So, I mean, literally, everything, and that doesn't, I don't think that can appear totally in nature, that exact look.
Right.
You obviously there had to be some sort of something. And the guy was very nice. He said, "How do you do?" And then I looked at Joe, and Joe says, "He's not the only one."
Wow.
And it made me think that, and if you remember back in the day, there would be those videos of like Michael traveling around the world, and he'd be wearing that surgical mask and stuff like that. And I thought to myself, wow, that could be a cool thing to be. So, like, if you want to be here and you'd like everybody to think you were there, this would be perfect.
And,
you send this guy with
He's
the thing.
alive.
This is
this
a moon over Parador situation
it was
here.
wild.
You can look that up.
But then when he finally came, he was very sweet and just a very nice man.
So he had this guy doing his.
He was the guy. He was just like the stand-in. He was the guy. They would rehearse with him just for the positioning of the animals and the people and the stuff.
You might have not even met him. That could have been another stand-in.
Yeah, I think this. And the only thing is, part of it was because when we're talking, and Madonna was sitting on an apple box like over here, and Michael's standing in front of her looking at me, and he says to me, he goes, "I hope she's been behaving herself on the set, because if she isn't, you ought to give her a good spanking." and I look down at her, and she gives me one of those looks like, and I'm thinking she's giving me a look like, "Isn't this weird?" And I'm thinking to myself, "Honey, this is weird, not just because of what he just said and that it's him. It's that it's about you, and you're there, it's sitting there. I mean, I thought the whole thing is weird. I mean, but it was great. He was actually a very, very sweet, nice man, and I love Madonna too. I had a good, I'd done a play with her, and a few years before on Broadway, Speed the Plow. So we were. She was like a pal. So I like Madonna. Nice Italian
back to
girl
Sammy
from
Sosa for a
anyway,
second.
back to Sammy.
Oh yeah.
What are we missing? Is he a married man? Does he have children?
I don't know.
He
hit a lot of home runs for the Cubs. That's all I cared about.
That's it, right?
He's married to.
He's married with children, and he lives in South Florida. I know that, but I know that he's done interviews, and it looks like he's wearing a lot of makeup. He's a pretty boy. Look, he definitely looks strange. I don't know what it is, but he has a wife and kids, and he's in South Florida, and he just won't talk about the steroids thing. He goes, "I said I didn't do it. I said I didn't do it."
And then he kisses his
Right,
fingers
that's
and
right.
goes up to the.
Remember that used to be Harry Carey would say, "A kiss for mama," and he'd blow it at in the air. But that Sammy is that whole era, Adam. I'd like to. It's like the
steroids.
Yeah, I'm talking about McGuire, Sosa, Clemens. They're like and Barry
the greatest
Bonds.
time of baseball.
That is.
I
Totally.
agree.
Yeah.
I knew McGuire was juicing not from his 500-foot dingers. It's him taking his super hefty son at home plate. His son's built like a vending machine, and he just grabbed him with both hands and shot him above his head. Like, that guy's juicing.
That's hilarious.
Forget about the 475-foot moonshot he just hit. That little butt plug
just shoulder
right
press.
over his head. No way. That guy's on something. Yeah, there was. Yeah, and so where are we on that? I mean, look, professional wrestlers juice. We don't care. It adds to the whole excitement of the whole thing. But this is records, and I guess you're going against guys who didn't juice from back in the day. So how do we?
Yeah,
keep the record
one
straight?
argument is that they say you go back even to the history of baseball right from the very beginning. everybody was doing something that
Yeah.
they shouldn't have been doing at that time, whether it was the spitball, or whether it was this, whether it was that. So if you really dig deep enough, you're going to have to put an asterisk next to almost everybody.
Yeah.
So I mean,
yeah.
so I'm not condoning it, but yet on the other hand, I don't know. Yeah, that's a good question. You know?
They're the scapegoat too. Like, listen, you think only baseball players were doing steroids? How come there's never been there's got to be football players doing it, even basketball players. Everyone's
Corruption
doing
is
it.
everywhere, and it's interesting you say that because what I've heard Deion Sanders say, uniquely, gentlemen, is that they said, "What's the hardest sport to play, Deion?" I mean, this is currently, and he's like, baseball, man. That ball, trying to hit it, it does something to you. So there's more. I mean, hitting a baseball is like the hardest thing, I think, in sports. And it is unique that Sammy, because they try to have Sammy back at Wrigley Field. They won't have him back yet because there's no kind of contrition, guys. There's no admission of anything. You know what I mean?
They won't have the great Sammy Sosa.
That's kind of messed
the
up.
pink Sammy. Yeah.
Would he be welcomed back with open arms?
He'd be welcome. Yeah, and probably
tandem?
it'd be syringe day.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think they would. I mean, look, if you wait 108 years for a World Series, and, you know, we forgive a lot of things, you know, after that.
The guy I would like let into the Hall of Fame is Pete Rose.
100%.
Absolutely.
I don't get it. Like, he gambled on the all right, so he gambled on his team. Like, all right, he tried to win or he tried to lose. I mean, I guess if you tanked a game, that's something. But unless you have evidence that you just tanked a game, just gambling in general. And by the way, this is pre-FanDuel and every single thing, Golden Palace and everything under the sun. I mean, we had a much different yardstick to measure gambling back then.
Yeah.
Like, it was a lot of, you can't talk about gambling. You know, they do these sports shows in the 80s and in the 90s, and the guy'd be going like, well, we got the 13-1 Ravens going against the 0-22 Cleveland. I'm going to go with the Ravens. So that's one. And I won all my bets, all my picks. Like, yeah, because you weren't picking against the spread. They were a 17-point favorite. Now, so we just do it, and they never talk about it. You could never bring it up. It was never discussed. I did radios, like you couldn't discuss it. Now it's sponsored by whatever the betting site is.
FanDuel.
Don't we have a different relationship with gambling now than we did when Pete Rose did it?
In every way. And Adam, it's kind of funny because there's evidence to the contrary that Pete Rose gambled, because if you saw his famous All-Star game where he took out Greg Fosse, the catcher, I mean, that was an All-Star game. He's betting on himself and he's he's doing everything to win. So evidence to the contrary has been presented that he gambled. And
he obviously, someone is just real. He had a bad relationship with someone high up in baseball. But what I don't understand is, even like people from your generation, my generation, we've all agreed like this guy should be in the Hall of Fame. So like, why isn't there someone who's in power yet to be like, yeah, let's take this ban off? Like, what?
Well, they say part of it is because he just won't own up. You know what I mean? In other words, they said if he would just own up, and they want that act of contrition.
Yeah, but
if
this
they
is
don't
what
get it, they're
chicks
not
say.
gonna do
Just
it.
admit you cheated, and I won't be bothered.
Yeah, but
really?
but he's so driven. I had lunch with him once. You know, out here in L.A. He was out with a mutual friend of mine who's a big Cincinnati fan. And at the time, if you remember the whole Beanie Baby craze, and I've got two daughters, and they were right in the midst of it at the time. Pete was in that craze at that same time, I guess, with one of his daughter. And all he wanted to do was talk about how, and I got the, and he was talking about the hard ones to get, like how driven he was to be able to get that certain Beanie Baby.
Jimmy's cousin Sal, who likes to gamble a little bit, got caught up in the beanie.
Well, there you go.
He got the Princess Di one for $89. He's going to flip it for $400. It didn't really work out.
No, it didn't. No, I got a crate of them.
Adam, there was a special on Crank Yankers where it was who was it? Carl Malone did a Beanie Baby prank. Remember that on Crank Yankers? Carl Malone talked all about Beanie Babies. That was hilarious.
Probably Jimmy doing Carl Malone.
And Carl Malone, remember long ago, he had the Reese's Pieces Beanie Baby and the Pee Wee Herman Baby. It just went on, man. It was hilarious.
I love Carl Malone. The guy, all right, so a couple things. So back to Pete Rose. So was it, we're talking about Bobby Hull, who died the other day? And every article was like, this guy was a 19-time All-Star and led the Lord Stanley's Cup 15 times, the best player in Blackhawks history. But off the ring, but off the ice, he was a racist. Anyway, we'll close the chapter on that. And I'm like, I don't care about off the ice. I care about on the ice. And I feel the same way about Pete Rose. Whatever he did on the diamond, It's called the Baseball Hall of Fame. It's not called the Baseball and Moral Wiring Hall of Fame. It's just the Baseball Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
So if he did enough on the diamond to go into the Hall of Fame, then he should go in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
What he did outside of that, not interested.
His is the one record that's probably going to stay.
Well, I want to thank O'Reilly Auto Parts for climbing on board in 2023. I love cars. To me, they're like my children. I have a truck. I got an SUV. I got sports cars. I got race cars, and they're all cars. That's the key. And if you love cars, then you got to love O'Reilly Auto Parts. It's O Rewards bonus points month at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Shop in-store or online to get points and rewards sent straight to your phone or inbox. Get 2, 3, or even 4 times bonus points on select purchases to get you to your next reward even faster. Receive a $5 reward for every 150 O Rewards points. If you're already an O Rewards member and not receiving your rewards, just add your email or mobile phone number and get a $10 reward for updating your existing account. Sign up is quick and easy at O'ReillyAuto.com, or you can do it in store. That's O'ReillyAuto.com.
Do you know what Crank Yankers is, Joe?
No.
Oh, yeah, Adam.
I didn't know what The Simpsons was.
Yeah, right. So, yeah.
Jimmy, years ago, maybe even before the Man Show, or like he was always interested in prank phone calls. That was, to a certain generation, we had Playboys and prank phone calls.
Yeah, right.
Now they got internet, you fuck porn, and everyone has a phone.
No
with
idea what you're talking about.
identification.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all gone. It's all scat and disgusting and a mess now. But back in the simpler times, you had the Playboy, and you had prank phone calls. That's what you had as a young kid. And of course, Jimmy, it's the first place, like, there's serial killers. This guy tortured animals when he was 11. That's a marker for being Prank phone calls is sort of a marker for like being a comedian later on if you're of a certain age, because it was
the 90s.
That's all.
Prank calls.
Yeah, but see, when I was a kid, it was just like, do you have Prince Albert in the can, and they go, let him out. It was that.
That was refrigerators running.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. So Jimmy always said to me, we got to do something with phone calls, and I was like, well, but how do we illustrate it? Or is it a cartoon? And we messed around with claymation for a while. Jimmy's a skilled artist, and he made a whole set of stuff. Like maybe we could do a claymation, and just sort of evolved into prank puppets as we got, which it was originally called Prank Puppets, the show. And so when we were done doing the Man Show, or somewhere around the end of the Man Show, we just sort of launched into that. But now your favorite Bircham call.
I like it. I like it where you're calling and you're talking about driver's ed, and there was a female, and you said, "Birch, get to the back." And you were saying these very salacious things, Adam. And I believe it was you were teaching driver's ed at that point. But
I don't even remember that one.
Yeah,
what season was that?
Well, no,
from?
I'll tell you what I loved is Boomer and the Nudge too, Adam. Oh my God,
Boomer and the Nudge.
So these were all puppets, Joe, and they would reenact phone calls, and they had like Gilbert Gottfried, and I thought Carl Malone was played by David Allen Greer. He was brilliant, but you guys were just. I mean, I met Jim Florentine, and I was like taken aback, like it was like Sinatra. I could not. I mean, I just love that show, Adam. So and the whole Yankerville thing of the puppets and a.
See, now aren't you glad I brought him?
I mean, buddy, it was the best, Adam. So please.
I wish I could remember which Birch I'm driving. Is that an earlier one?
I believe so.
One?
I believe so. But you called when this woman, you said you won this contest, and your husband he peed in the Slurpees, or you got her to say this stuff. It was.
Wait, you're thinking Boomer and the Nudge?
Yeah, Boomer and the Nudge. Yeah.
Well, wait a minute. I wasn't Boomer and the Nudge. Boomer and the Nudge was the morning show. That was Patton Oswalt and Jimmy.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure that was Boomer and the Nudge. I was Bircham,
right?
Or I was me on occasion.
I love that too. You and Drew called somebody and made him talk. That was,
right.
Yeah.
There was that one. I mean, the driving instructor one I have no recollection of. But that doesn't mean I didn't do it.
Yeah, but it was a hilarious show, Joe, and it
I like the reboot right now. It was pretty good.
Maybe we can have you as your uncle on the show.
Yeah, bring in Uncle Willie, sure.
Listen, we're talking about witness relocation.
And ironically, this is true too. Uncle Willie built Bobby Hull's house.
What?
He was a bricklayer who became like a contractor, and so Bobby Hall. Because I have a memory of this, because my mother lived with my grandparents. But Willie brought him over to visit my mother, his sister.
What year is this?
This is like probably I would say early 80s, late 70s.
So he's a legend in Chicago.
Oh, yeah. And he brings Bobby Hall. And I remember Bobby Hall picked up my grandmother. Here's an old Italian lady. Picks her up and like, hey, Mama, how are you? And she goes, put me down, Bobby, put me down. She's slapping him, and I'm thinking. And, and Willie's like, yeah, it's my friend Bobby,
So he's a bricklayer.
He was a bricklayer. Well, my mother had 4 brothers, and they were all bricklayers. And all characters, and Willie was one of them. Yeah, and my mother lived to be 101, and that was.
How the hell did you get to acting from that?
Yeah, it's a good question, and that's another thing. She never really understood what I did for a living. Okay, so when she passed away at 101, at the funeral, my brother gets up to speak first because he's older than I am. He's 8 years older than I am. He gets up and goes, I just want to say this about our mother. My brother Joey doesn't even know this, but she called when he got the job on Criminal Minds. And she called him, and she goes, Ronnie, I'm worried about Joey. And my brother goes, why? And she goes, he's only working an hour a week. Because they had told her that if she turns the channel on CBS every Wednesday night at 9, she could see me for an hour. And so she figured, what can I be making at an hour? She knew I was in the business. I made movies. I was in theater. But she figured, well, he must be working all the time to do that.
Is this a bygone era that the parents my parents, they didn't really know what I did. Yeah. My dad be like, how's that pod cart working?
Yeah.
It's like, I don't feel like I would be that. My kids are 16, but when they're doing something, I'm not going to just have no fucking idea what they're doing.
I think it is a generational.
Got a computer or something. I don't know what he's doing over there.
Talks into a microphone.
I don't think they wanted to know.
No, they didn't.
They never investigated.
No
one in my family ever went, explain to me exactly how this works. Like, do you get paid monthly, weekly?
Right.
Where do you do crank anchors? Are you doing the puppeteering? Are you just doing the voicing? Or do you write the man show? Or does someone else write? Like, I would take pity on them, except for they never asked the question. There's like, he does something with farts on the basic channel, the comedy show.
Right.
I don't know what he does.
They just want to know if it has benefits. That's what my parents were like. Do you have health insurance? Does it? We don't care what you do.
Are you safe? You know what I mean? We don't want to know about the farts. We just want to know if you're safe.
That's what my brother. I asked my brother once. I said, they never, my whole career, they never once brought it up, talked about it or anything. I said, did they ever ask you about it? He says, one time when you were first starting out, like when you were starting to do it in high school and college, junior college, they said, your brother, what is this? He was going to be an actor? Should we stop him? And my brother, in his wisdom, said, look, it's not dangerous. I mean, it's let him go, and if it doesn't work out, I think he's smart enough, he'll leave it. And that's all they wanted to hear, was like, we're off the hook now. It's like, okay, great. So now they never had to mention it,
But it's a profound apathy mixed with a dusting of disinterest, mixed with a slight passive aggressiveness,
Absolutely.
a downgrading. Are you still doing those little skits with your friends?
But that's impetus. That's impetus to succeed,
No, I live in a big house and I make a shitload of money. That's what I do. Oh, that's cute. So you have
For me, I'm like, I was on Adam Carolla show. Come on, it's going.
and it's funny because where Joe and I are from in Chicago, there is this insane regional ignorance that thinks that Chicago versus the world rules everything. Like Chicago is the 85 Bears. It's that big and bad. It's the 96 Bulls.
Right.
They think they're that at everything, Adam. So I've got a friend that will tell you, did a comedy bit about this. He's like, I wrote a movie with Steven Spielberg. I live in Malibu, and the post office is hiring.
Yeah. Right.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
You know what I mean? And that's really true in our city, isn't it?
No,
Joe?
my mother would be impressed if I told her I was on the Adam Carolla show. So she'd go, Carolla, he's Italian.
Yeah.
That's right.
I'll tell you, I think when it starts getting a little beyond, like, I think we kind of look at it as the gods must be crazy. It's this native who sees a flame or a flashlight for the first time. They don't know what to make of it. But I think it's a little more nefarious than that, because my family, like, I would go, they just picked up Loveline for a third season. Jules Mandel's doing Man of La Mancha at the Conejo. It's a junior college production. He's an understudy, but it's still a very important for Jules, and I'm like, why are we talking about this other guy who's not getting paid to do anything?
Right.
Why did we divert away from what I was talking about? So I don't.
You're so defensive, Adam. Why are you so defensive about this? He's doing Man of La Mancha for the Blind at the Alhambra Central Theater. What's your edge for, Corolla?
Yeah, they understood like the business a little bit. They just never got what I was doing. But again, I think it was intentional. I couldn't imagine, like, it would be the equivalent to, like, you know, our kids going, I'm in a rock band and we're going to Brazil to play a soccer stadium. And you're like, well, that's cute. Anyway, Jules Mandel's got a ukulele. You know what I mean? Like, why no question?
Right.
I know.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Well, see, but being an actor, like you said, where I grew up in, Cicero, Illinois, and that environment. I mean, saying that I'm going to be a professional actor, I might as well have said, I think I'm going to be a Martian, or just something that was just you can't wrap your head. Even an astronaut would have been.
I get it, but they knew who John Wayne and Clark Gable was. Like they knew Frank Sinatra. Like they knew people acted, were in show business. Like they go to the deli and the Italian restaurant, see all the pictures on the wall of Sal.
Yeah, but they drop in from somewhere else, from some other place.
Yeah,
they're
it's
not in the
it's
neighborhood.
not realistic.
They're
Like
not,
my Italian dad, they're realists. They're real. Like when you tell them, "Hey, I'm going to go to L.A. to do stand-up," they're like, "What are you crazy? You think you're going to make it? You think you're going to be on Leno?" They don't support you. They're like, "You're stupid. What are you, a fucking idiot?" Like, okay, go try your dreams. You know what I mean? That's what it was like, because there's no security. There's structure. They're foreigners who came to America, and their dream was to build a family, and then they did it for us, and then we're like, "I'm going to go fuck around in L.A." You would be pissed.
You got a union? Is that a union job?
Yeah. You'd be like, why are you doing that? Like, just go get a normal job.
Make sure and bring those bricks with you, Joey.
That's right.
That's right.
There's a projected ignorance in sportscasting. I'll just tell you guys a story. I was like 31 years old. I got to be the voice of Notre Dame baseball back when they had Jeff Samardzija. I mean, it was, but I went on the road with him. I got to do like 12 games, and I'd tell people in Chicago, I'm doing stuff for Notre Dame, and they said, well, football or basketball, you idiot. Which is it? I'm like, no, baseball. Like, that wasn't even on their radar. So there's that kind of getting adjusted to.
Harry Carey down the street.
That's right. Absolutely. God.
Yeah.
Remember when Harry Carey spelled Brian Sandberg's name backwards? Sandberg spelled backwards is grab an ass.
Oh, really?
I like Sandberg better.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so he'd say stuff like that.
I think there's a general lack of not enthusiasm, curiosity. In the world. I don't know if you guys have experienced that, but I do think of a lot of.
I blame it all on the internet, because why have curiosity when you can Google it?
There's a disconnect, and it's all those YouTube. There's nobody like talking. Nobody solves conflicts anymore. They just leave awful Facebook posts about people or tag them and stuff.
Well, everybody has a voice.
I found, but I remember I was like, I got my hair cut once, middle-aged woman, sport cuts, lock and yacht or whatever. And she said, like, what are you up to, this summer or something? Any travel plans or something? And the next day I was going to Europe to do a car race, and I said, well, I'm going to England to do a car race. She's like, there you go. How do you like the back of your neck? You like it square? You like it round? And I'm like, people don't. I could have said I'm going to Kosovo to fight with the militants, and she just went, well, yeah, you like the back of your neck. Like, I just realized there is no.
Well, she's just doing her script. She's in her
don't
routine.
Ask then. Yeah. My thing is just don't ask.
Yeah.
Don't ask. All right. Should we do a little news? Chris got what's going on in the world, and we can all crack wise and chime in.
Yeah. All right. So speaking of Tom Brady, Adam.
There just should be more people that we know named Tom Brady.
I heard
That's
that.
all.
I couldn't agree more. There's a couple. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Like Joe, he had to change his name to Mantegna because of Joe Montana.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh yeah, you got to hear this. You get each other's mail.
I would be doing a movie. There'd be a knock on my trailer door, and I'd open it up, and there's a kid standing there with a football because he'd heard. He'd walk by and say, "What, are you making a movie here?" "Oh yeah, Joe Montana's in it." "Oh, go home and get my football." And I gotta have to disappoint the kid. Like, yeah, I thought about signing it too, but I thought.
It hits home because they get each other's mail. too, don't
Yeah,
you?
he used to get his mail.
Yeah.
He'd get my
Oh, really?
Then when I hosted Saturday Night Live, that was my whole opening monologue was all based on the fact of that I was hosting the show, and I said, "Oh, boy, what a thrill to be Joe Mantegna hosting the show!" And of course, they had a plant in the audience, a kid in the the jersey with the father. He gets up, he's leaving. I go, "Where you going?" "Oh no, it's okay." Well, no, wait, come on. He goes, "Well, we thought it was going to be, Oh, okay. Look, that's when The Godfather just come out. So of course, I jump off the stage. Go, well, let me at least show the kid around the sound stage. Of course, the camera follows me. I take him behind the set, and I go, "Listen, kid, nobody walks out of the theater when Joe Montana is hosting the show. I make one phone call, and John Madden's head is in Joe Montana's bed, something like that." But anyway, so yeah, he and we finally did a thing together, him and I, Joe and I, and he's great. So
What year was that SNL hosting gig?
it was 1991.
Wow.
Yeah.
What a thrill.
Yeah, it was a thrill.
That is a bucket list.
Because
item.
Godfather had just come out at Christmas, and so this was like their first show after the Christmas break. I remember it was pretty cool.
It's a funny bit.
Yeah. Well, Robert Kraft, he went on record. He wants Tom Brady to sign a one-day contract
to retire as a
Patriot.
Patriot.
Oh, to retire?
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Well, if he does that, then he's really retiring. That's a good
that's
indication. Because
Right.
if he doesn't do that, then we go, oh, here he goes.
Yeah.
He's going somewhere else.
But I mean, then you guys should do that with MJ. Sign him to a one-day contract for the Bulls and have him retire as a
Michael
Bull.
B?
Yeah, Michael B. Jordan.
B.
Yeah.
Jordan.
That's right, baby.
I can't believe
he
anybody
could
would
play
think
Michael
Jordan is anything but a Bull, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and here's the thing: he
I
can
always thought he
retire
played for
like
the Wizards
that.
only.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, great
I don't-
wizard.
Montana was a great Kansas City Chief, boy, and I loved OJ as a 49er. He was great.
Yeah. What
Dude, I didn't
about,
even OJ played football when I was a kid. I grew up. I was like, yeah, the actor from Naked Gun. Like, he was unbelievable. I had
And he's
no
always
idea.
getting beat
What
up.
about Ram Hall of Famer Joe Namath?
Oh yeah,
Finish his career out
absolutely.
here.
Franco Harris is a Seahawk, Adam.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah.
Wow. I blocked that from my memory.
I don't blame you.
Deion Sanders is a Cincinnati Red.
That's right.
Oh, yeah. Well, if you want to take a deep dive, I was looking at the Miracle in the Meadowlands the other day just because why not? I was sitting around Herm Edwards.
Oh, yeah,
Everyone
yeah,
knows, everyone knows the play. Do you know who Prasarchek was handing the ball off to? This table, well, you're not.
He's handed.
What? Why would I not know? I need to be reminded.
Can you give us a
I'll
hint,
give you a
Adam?
hint.
Maybe
You're
is
a
there
Miami guy, Michael.
Yeah, but but we're talking
Larry
about the
Zonka?
Jets.
Larry Zonka.
Yeah, Larry Zonka.
I knew it's a little nudge.
Yeah, that's right.
Toward the light.
A little boomer in the nudge.
Oh, wow, yeah, this is way before
Miami
my time.
great Larry Zonka.
Yeah.
The straight James Von Prague. If you find a picture of James Von Prague and Larry Zonka at the same age, James Von Prague, psychic, is the gay Larry Zonka. And I don't even know if he's gay. I'm just saying, according to the picture, he's the gay Larry Zonka. There's never been. If you'd like to know it's one thing to find someone who looks like you. Find the gay version of you. That's a bigger challenge. You guys can take a minute and look for it, and while we're doing it, you can find Chris Carter and Godzuki as well, just to entertain the partisan crowd here.
He has
Sorry,
a gift.
Chris.
Adam has a gift for this.
I have a gift for connecting faces, but Miracle in the Meadowlands, Prasarchek muffs the handoff, thus giving way to victory formation, because all they had to do was take a knee, and the game was over. But he tried to hand it off to Larry Zonka, the Giant, at the time,
Right.
which is crazy.
Yeah,
'Cause I would have thought he retired for sure a Dolphin.
Yeah, he still holds the record for most rushing yards.
I mean, I was going to say it's not what you retire as; it's what you go in the Hall of Fame as. That's kind of the
Right.
importance of that. You know, the significance.
All right, sorry, Chris.
All right, so today, as we record this, one of the trending topics is Punxsutawney Phil.
Oh,
yeah.
really?
Because today is Groundhog Day. That's right. The beloved groundhog took his position for the 137th time in Gobbler's Knob this morning.
Yes.
And look, I mean, this the town of Punxsutawney has a population of like 6,000, but like 20 to 30,000 people show up for this event. So we could watch and see.
Oh man, I'd love to see
what
those
happened
people.
today.
I don't know how does he see his own shadow, or how do we determine that?
Well, he writes a letter, and the inner circle reads it.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's poetry, literally.
My God.
Everyone knows their part, and I am merely the sage. But above all else, I see a shadow on my stage. And so, no matter how you measure, it's 6 more weeks of winter weather.
Yeah. The place is going nuts.
All right.
Yeah, so and just a reminder too, before the movie came out in 1993, Groundhog Day, only 2,000 people would show up to this thing, an extra 2,000
Oh, wow.
people.
Mm-hmm.
And then once the movie came out, tens of
Bill
thousands
Murray
of people.
should just be there every year.
Yeah.
Should.
Well, he's at the Cubs games.
Oh, my Italian buddy sent me a little text just today saying, if Puxatawny Phil was Italian, every year he would just say, I didn't see nothing. I didn't see nothing. And I thought, that made sense.
Yeah.
Puxatawny feels racially inappropriate. It feels like some sort of cultural appropriation or something. It had to be a Puxatawny tribe that we slaughtered 200 years ago or something. It's got to be the Puxatawny.
They'll find some reason to cancel him.
PETA's already upset with this whole thing, of course, right? Because
hold on, why don't you tell us when PETA's not upset?
I know.
That's
PETA's
a better way to
happy.
gauge
No
PETA.
groundhog was hurt during the filming of this shadow.
Well, not according to PETA. PETA says these groundhogs, this one groundhog for 137 years straight. This groundhog is under...
wow.
Oh,
hold on.
Oh, what are we...
Larry Zonka.
Oh, wow.
We're
Is
just
that
seeing
Alex
two of the
Karras
same
from
picture.
Webster?
That is James Von Prague on the left.
Yeah,
Larry Zonka on
just,
the right.
That's just Larry Zonka with makeup.
He's the gay
He got
Larry
it from
Zonka.
Sosa.
Wow.
Yeah.
Man.
Who may not be gay.
Yeah.
And he's just dyed the mustache a little bit.
All right.
Yeah, well...
Sorry.
So PETA says that we should replace the groundhog with a robotic groundhog. That's the only...
Yeah, until
for
the
us to-
Chinese hack into it and the robotic groundhog takes out the
Takes
entire
over.
city.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Goodbye,
I seen
Punxsutawney.
Meg or
They-
Megan or whatever that movie is.
Yeah, Megan.
Well, look no further.
What do you think? What do they think is going on with the ground? You think that's the most attention he's ever got? That's a great day for him.
Too much stress.
Their
Stage
whole
fright.
thing is they don't care if he's being fed and stroked. It's exploitation of the groundhog. That's what they don't like.
There's gonna be a bunch of people super gluing their hands next year.
We got Chris Carter and Godzuki now, which is always a delight.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
All he does is score touchdowns.
That's all Godzuki does.
That's right.
See, Godzuki would just go to Europe wearing a mask. We'd think it was Chris Carter.
That's
over
right.
there.
That's right.
Yeah.
I just got in that scene. And there's a scene in Groundhog Day where Andy McDowell, who is so beautiful in that movie, she comes out. Isn't she lovely? She tells Bill Murray, she goes, because they're in Puxatawny, and it's like, boy, these people in this town are so great. They come out and they sing songs, they dance around, and then they go inside and get warm, and then they come out and sing some more. And Bill Murray says, yeah, they're Hicks.
All right. Sorry, Chris.
All right.
Sorry, Chris.
Oh, no, please. So there's a
lovely.
New York Magazine declared last year the year of the Nepo baby.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of our current celebrities right now are the sons and daughters of celebrities, right? Like Zoe Kravitz, you have Gwyneth Paltrow, Lily Rose Depp. Kate Hudson. Kate Hudson weighed in on this debate, and she says, I look at my kids, and we're a storytelling family. It's definitely in our blood. Because a lot of people are saying, look, do these celebrities deserve this these opportunities, this praise, because they're just the daughters and the sons and daughters of already famous people, or they're not are they the talented ones? Are we giving them more opportunities? So Kate Hudson's defending it. She says people can call it whatever they want, but it's not going to change it. I actually think there are other industries where it's more common, maybe modeling. I see it in business way more than I see it in Hollywood. Yeah. And so she's gone on record saying, look, it's a thing, but it's fine. And why do we care?
Well, look at all the bricklayers that
there you go.
family
Absolutely.
spawned,
If you're a
you know
plumber,
what I mean?
you should be surprised when your kid grabs a wrench and a pipe and starts working on it. So the same
Right.
thing. The other thing about show business, because I used to think the same thing when I used to think, just because that person's parent is a great movie star, why should they be like that? But at the end of the day, you got to back it up, because there's nothing sadder than then seeing the offspring be shitty. You know what I mean? All of a sudden, like,
Michael Jordan's
wait a
kids.
minute, they're because now you're embarrassed in front of the whole world. It's not like you put in a bad pipe on the guy's sink and they go, you're not as good as plumber as your father.
Right.
But so at the end of the day, I think if you can back it up, then you can back it up, and that's fine. But if you can't back it up, change your name, move, get another job.
And the perfect example would be like Michael Douglas. Like he's a great, son of somebody that was amazing, and he's gone on
Douglas,
Fatal Attraction, and the Game.
Jane Fonda. I mean, obviously,
Streets of San Francisco. Look, first off, it's
Tom Hanks.
It's nature and nurture. You know what I mean? Like you got the looks. Your mom is a beautiful starlet, and then she married a super handsome guy. So genetically, you're in pretty solid shape already. And then you grew up in this creative family where mom was reading scripts, and you were helping, playing the part of the waitress or something when she was running lines when you were 9, and blah blah blah. So you already sort of got one foot in this business. And I believe I'm with you, Joe. Like, if you can't do it, you're not going to hang. It doesn't exist in
you don't get
sports.
a free ticket.
It doesn't exist in acting. It doesn't exist in music. Like, if you can't play, if you can't sing, if you can't act, if you can't throw baseball, you're just not going to last. You may get a chance to throw that baseball or strum that guitar, but you ain't
if you're the
son
of God, maybe they'll give you some leeway. He's God's kid, so let's give him a break. But beyond that, they're going to be pretty tough on you.
Son of God and Clint Howard, I think, is the exception. But
Clint.
Yeah. Right? Yep.
He
was great in Gung Ho, man. God.
I love Clint Howard.
Yeah.
He was great in Gentle Ben.
Damn right.
He played the kid in Gentle Ben. Looked good acting with that bear, Ben. It was a very gentle creature, as I've heard. But this is just one more grievance, society, whatever. It's like we're out of real problems, and so we have to kind of turn over every rock and try to invent something to be angry again about X, Y, and Z. This is nothing burger, and it's not only that; it's a great sign. Because you show me a society that's arguing over nothing, and I'll show you a society that doesn't have problems. You show me a society that doesn't know where its next glass of drinkable water is coming from, with a bunch of dead crops, and trying to figure out how to get the water from the well back to the thatched hut. They don't argue over bullshit. We argue over bullshit, which is everyone should be inspired to argue over bullshit. Every country should hope they work their way up to the level of arguing over bullshit, because that's what we do, because we're out of problems. The dumb people in this country feel every bit as passionate about having siblings go into the acting field as you do about having dead crops and no drinkable water and babies that don't see their 9th month on the planet. There's passion, maybe more passionate, I would argue, maybe louder, maybe more charged up by this. But I love it. I love it when the Million Woman March hits and they're all marching and no one knows what the fuck they're marching for, but they're super angry and they're giving speeches about, being humiliated and denigrated and everything, but then nothing ever happens, and then they just go home with their fucking knit beanies on and nothing ever comes of it. Your country should aspire to that.
It says that you want taste great, less filling. You want that when you come down to taste great, less filling. That's how you know you've won.
That is our argument. Which light beer is the best? That's right.
What a good life.
That is good. Well, how many million women marches do they have in parts of Africa or Mexico or the Middle East?
They don't have shoes. They can't.
They can't march. That's right. There's no shoes.
You don't want to step on the grain. You might bend the wheat, and then you can't eat it.
That's our food.
Or they would be stoned by the men to death if they dared to gather and assemble that way. So it's good. It's an out of. When we get outraged over nothing, I sleep like a baby. I'm like, we're number one. This is the greatest nation ever.
It's a lullaby to him.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Even something like Make America Great Again. Like the fact that so many people could get so upset over just that saying says we're out of problems. That's a win. When I hear those yentas on The View screaming about nothing, I'm like, great. Boy, are they upset. Spittle's flying. Joy Behar's hands are sailing around. She wants to know about why they have to show ID in Georgia in order to vote, and she's out of her mind. And Whoopi's yelling about racism. I'm like, oh, boy, have we arrived. This is awesome.
The world is always in a better place in the present.
Yes.
It is.
Do you think there could be an African view where they were just talking about what is this guy doing dressing this way, or what is this guy doing getting his son into acting. They would be talking
Getting a
about
son into hunting. Like, how come his son's hunting?
Yeah, they would be talking about famine and locust attacks and livestock perishing because they were living in a dust bowl. It just wouldn't work.
There's a movie called The Golden Child that's very old, Adam. It's
Eddie Murphy.
Yeah, remember that? And at the end of it, when they save the Golden Child, Eddie is saying to the kid, he goes, "Hey, do they have Star Search where you're from? Probably not. Probably have Food Search." And I'm using that as an example to kind of convey, you know what I mean? And that's before the end of the movie. But yeah, that's kind of how the communication I feel would be.
Out of problems.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah.
And we can all focus on what Kate, what's her name?
Food Search would be a good show.
Kate Hudson's daughter is doing.
Be a great show.
It's awesome. Yeah.
All right. So moving on here. So Michael.
Hey.
What? I'm going to start the story with a Florida man.
Sure.
Yeah. Does that worry you?
I have a defense for all this Florida bullshit.
Sure. I'd love to hear.
But let's hear what it is.
A Florida man was arrested.
Yeah.
After biting off a python's head during an argument with a woman.
I mean, that's intimidating. That's not a bad idea. That will maybe make her agree with you. I mean, that would make me agree immediately. I'd be like, okay, I'm going to stop arguing with this guy.
Yeah.
What was the argument about? Was it about your constant killing of reptiles? Or was it just about... Because there could be context here. You know what I mean?
Very good. Very good.
And then whose python was it? Because if it's her python, that's a deal breaker.
It's her python.
Oh, you can't.
Well, then she's obsessive over it, and then he was jealous about the python, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There.
Okay. Well,
take it out of the animal.
I mean, it looks like he got bit by the python right before.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It could have been self-defense, to be honest, but I'm sure PETA is going to be very upset about this story.
Well, they're still worried about Punxsutawney Phil right now. Their eyes are focused. But yeah, they should be mad at this. So this is 32-year-old Kevin Margoya. He's facing multiple charges for this crime. So the police came because they were responding to a 911 call regarding a domestic dispute. And they just heard the woman inside just go, "Just kick the door in." So they do that, and they get into a physical altercation with this gentleman, and they claim he hit an officer in the eye with a handcuff, and then following the arrest, they noticed a decapitated python with
my God.
Yeah, obviously with its head missing, and the woman blamed him, and the suspect is now facing charges including false imprisonment, resisting arrest, and animal cruelty with intent to kill.
Shouldn't it just be imprisonment? Like false imprisonment feels like it didn't really happen. Number one.
Yeah.
Also, intent to kill. Did the python not die?
Well, the python definitely died.
He bit its head off. That's pretty definitive.
Yeah,
I don't think it's.
But he was
back.
intending
Sometimes
to
their
kill
bodies
it.
go on still for a little bit.
Yeah, because people accidentally decapitate pythons.
This
in
guy looks
Florida.
like he was
It
sober.
happens.
He looks like a very sober guy, too.
He kind of looks like a mix between Johnny Depp and Chocolat and Sammy Sosa.
Oh, new Sammy Sosa.
I
Current
would.
Sammy Sosa.
Yeah.
Looks like an offspring of Michael Jackson.
If my son ever had to do time, I would explain to him if anybody asked, "You're there because you bit the head off a python," because people will leave you the fuck alone in the shower.
That's
You know what I
right.
mean?
Exactly.
Don't give me the embezzlement, white collar. I took a picture of my kids on a kayak, tried to get them into USC.
right.
That you're
Don't
going to get
do
your
that.
ass
Yeah.
kicked.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Bit the head off a python.
Get
That's
the tattoo around your forehead of
Yeah.
the decapitated python.
yeah,
right
okay,
there.
you get-
First thing they
quiz
see.
him.
Listen, let's also say that's not his first time doing this. This isn't the first time. He knew he could do this. It was like,
Oh, he's a repeat head biter
you
offer
gotta
offender.
be. It's not a first time thing.
Yeah.
This is the first time he got caught.
Yeah,
That's
you're
how
right.
it always
That's
is,
how it
man.
works.
Yeah, that's
And
right.
then you don't
Repeat
know if it was
offender.
Snake. He might have done birds. Like, didn't Ozzy Osbourne do something like that with a bat?
This
or
is
something?
Giuliani's broken python
Yeah.
theory, which is if you're jumping the turnstile, it's not at the subway. It's not just that. You're
Yes.
up
That's
to
right.
something else.
Open
And
a
they need to
restaurant.
get you.
That'd be a good restaurant.
That-
you know,
that- going back-
decapitated
Oh, yeah.
python.
And every
Serial
time you leave
killers.
him alone with a snake, now you're going to have to question:
also
is
a-
this head going to be remained on the snake when I get back? You're going to have to think back to every.
Or just maybe no
Question.
more snakes.
He might-
Probably not. Yeah.
You know, abused animals, serial killer thing. You know. Also, the Florida man thing. Just to defend this,
Please.
here's the thing. Florida arrest records are public, so that's why all these stories are always available. This is what debunks. Why do all the crazy people come from Florida? It's because they're public immediately. The person gets arrested last night. You're available. That's not the case with all states. Like it's not a public record. So you think there's
Contact.
only crazy crap happening in Florida?
No.
Dude, there's plenty of stuff happening here.
We play Germany or Florida.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
That's
Yeah, so
where
it's
you
either
have to
Germany-
It could be a lot of the crazy people from elsewhere moved to Florida.
there we
though,
go. That too.
you know.
And listen, South Florida, where I'm from, Fort Lauderdale, we the rest of Florida doesn't represent us. Okay.
Oh yeah,
That's good. No, I think the public record thing is probably
That's a big part of it.
And they got a
Probably right.
magazine there. It's called Arrested, and you can look at people's pictures. It's like the daily variety for that, and it's out every day. I lived in St. Pete for a while.
So yeah, he
Really?
knows.
Oh yeah, you can see that it's like a little, like the auto, like the blue book for auto, only it's people being arrested, all their pictures, and what they're arrested for.
Which
like
I'm-
a Kelly Blue Book, but for felons.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a mugshot. Yeah,
Wow.
mugshot emporium.
And there's probably some dating going on as well. Cause
Oh, it's
if I-
multi-purpose.
Oh, he'll
Adam,
get some
yeah.
dates. This
Great dating
kid's gonna get some dates off that. shit.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
He will.
It's a good dating app.
Yeah, it's
for
cute.
sure.
All right, one more, Chris. What do we got?
All right, sure. So Marie Kondo. Does that name ring a bell?
I know
Adam?
the name.
Well, she had that Netflix show. She got really big because she wrote a book called The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up.
Oh, her. Yeah.
So
I
get
know.
rid of all
right.
your stuff if it
Oh,
doesn't,
okay.
quote, spark joy.
What's her last name?
Kondo.
I'm into
Oh.
this.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
Yeah,
I'm a
Japanese.
tidy one.
Oh, yeah.
This
yeah.
is foreplay for me.
I was
Nice.
confused because I thought she was very Asian. And
Oh,
I
she
didn't-
is. She's
I didn't know where
very
condo,
Condo,
comes in.
and I think the kind of thinking is it cleans your mind up when you have heaven is whatever your cars clean your mind.
She's right, but
Yeah,
I
she
won't
is.
do it anyway. But go ahead.
yeah, minimalism and all,
Yeah.
and all that.
That's right.
she's-
Yeah.
But she has now came out saying she's given up on all that and tidying up. And the reason being is she has 3 kids. So I'm done with that. I'd rather just spend
what a
time with my
fraud.
kids. Yeah, so a lot of people are thinking, oh, validation, finally. We don't we knew this wasn't this didn't mean anything. But it's just because she wants to spend time with her kids. I mean, she taught me. I still fold my shirts the way she told me to fold
wow.
them.
Really?
Yeah, I roll
Going
them.
around telling people you're a piece of shit
Yeah.
because you're not tidy. You have no idea what it's like. And
She's
they're
a
like, well, I
little
don't have
nicer.
time. And they're like,
Yeah.
no, you're just blaming it on other things. You're making excuses. And here she is like, oh, fuck, man.
So I guess she was
Life's hard.
neat up through the second kid, though. Was the third was the
Yeah.
that was the
Third
game
was
changer,
right.
right?
Yeah.
Kid too far.
Is I mean I think there's a balance. I also kind of wonder I grew up sort of in chaos and dirt and everything was sort of a mess and it was like sort of junk. Like when I was in high school, I dumped like a whole pot of spaghetti on the floor of my room. And I remember thinking I could clean it up now or I could let it dry and sweep it up in like a week. And I just let it dry. I didn't even pick it up. Like I was raised like a feral child. I never I didn't know how to make a bed. I didn't really have a bed. I had a bed, but I didn't have the top sheet and the comforter and stuff with the pillow, with the cases, like all the fancy people had and stuff. So I never really got any of that stuff. I was always kind of a weird slob. I didn't do any of the hygiene stuff. I don't think we had deodorant and stuff. I was
You're
just
just a
fucking
smelly,
mess.
dirty kid.
Yeah, I was. I would never shower before I went to bed. I'd come home after football practice and be covered with sweat and just take a nap and shit like that. I didn't have any form of hygiene whatsoever. And I did pretty much carry that into my adult life, but I do like things organized.
Yes.
Now, I don't the cleanliness part, not so much.
The
Organization.
The tidy thing does a lot for your mental health, for me personally.
You get rid of a lot of stuff.
It's not, well, I used to hold clothes for a while, but now I'm like, if I haven't worn this for a year, get the hell out of my closet. You know what I mean? But like coming home to an organized or tidy living room is a little refreshing. This happened more as I got older. Obviously in college or high school, not as much, but like I'm very organized. I'm not going to say OCD because people are crazy, but like I'm very organization, and that goes into with stand-up too. I'm reorganizing things.
I think I remember my dad once after surveying my room, he said, this is a sign of what's going on in your head. Like this chaos that you live amongst here. This is a representation. Like you can see it on the road, the person with the car with all the newspapers shoved up on the back, the tray and shit everywhere. And you go, oh, that person's a mess, right? Like we get it with the car. There is something to it being a mess and you being a mess. And I was a mess. Like he was correct.
I will say my smartest friends are messy.
Huh.
I'm one of the dumb guys, very clean and organized. But like I have like some of my comedian friends, I like everybody like, hey, that's one of the smarter comedians. Like water bottles on his floor of his car. You walk in, his console table has receipt. Like, there's no reason to have receipts ever. Why is there fucking receipts around? I got receipts. You're out of your mind.
You ate a Quiznos 4 years ago. You're not going to be audited.
You're out of. Well, if you have change or receipts, you're out of your mind.
I agree.
What do you have change for?
I don't know.
You have paper clips on a console. Like, what is this?
I agree.
He has that, and I'm like, dude, you're 38. He's not even 55. Where you could be like, oh, they have paper clips still. Like, what do you do? There's no reason to have
I don't know. Yeah. I'm 75. I got a bottle of change in my office.
That's what I'm saying.
Joe's office is
what
very
can I
clean.
tell you?
Very clean
Old
office,
habits
very
try
clean.
hard when you're past 70, you know?
Yeah. But there's got to be some correlation with like, oh, it's just like, if you think about it, it's kind of dumb to need everything organized. Like, who cares?
I think a few things. Like, I've got like 2 receipts. One from Chipotle in '97 and one from, I think, Ralph's in like 2003 in my car. And that's kind of how I balance it out. So I've got a few things, but not, you know.
The reality is if you ever do the organization run on your office or your bedroom or even your garage, the average amount of time it takes to get it from shitty and chaotic to organized about 17 minutes. Like it literally is. Like you could turn on one episode of TMZ and go, I'm just going to organize during this episode of TMZ. And before that episode was done, your office would look completely different. That's the scary part. Is it's not some pilgrimage that lasts 100 days or whatever. It is way under half an hour to like just get the shit. I'm not talking about shampooing the carpet.
No,
I just mean like
pick up a little
get
bit.
the clothes put away, fold it up, put the papers over there, put it in the desk. Like it is a 15 to 22 minute endeavor that we will never engage in.
Yeah.
All right. And on that positive note, Chris.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You want to do another one?
No, we're good.
Okay. All right.
I got to go do
Yep.
a TV show. Let's give a plug where the plugs are due. Joe and Brigham, Hollywood and Ivy's the name of the podcast. It's available wherever you find finer podcasts and on the Marquee Sports Network and YouTube as well. Lots of good guests on that show. And then
It's actually a show, Adam. It is the podcast is audio, but it's a TV show.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. It's a TV show on cable, but and the I'll give it a shout out. Brigham Avery Productions is my YouTube channel. You can get all the episodes. I have a podcast with Dwayne Perkins, Adam, comedian, called Are You Ready for Your Headline? I might have mentioned that, but that's it. Sorry.
Very funny guy.
That's the plugs. Yeah. Michael Lenoci is going to be in San Diego, Mission Brewery. That's coming up tomorrow as you hear this. And then also Hollywood Improv. That is February 10th. And then for more dates, you go to michaellenoci.com and you find those dates. For me, West Palm Beach coming up. That'll be at the Improv over there, February 16th, and then 17th, 18th, Magoobies, Baltimore, and Vegas, going to Jimmy's Club. That'll be March 9th. Just go to AdamCarolla.com for all that. And until next time, this is Adam Carolla for Chris Maxpata and Joe Mantegna and Brigham Avery and Michael Lenoci saying mahalo.
Ciao, baby.
Ciao, baby.